Is going to be on my prime minister. Not the guy I'm proud of, certainly not. Justin Trudeau. The man, the ego, the self appointed king, the man who's going to teach the world right from wrong. Justin Trudeau, I'm wondering, are his days numbered? But with a year and a half to go to an election, who knows? Hi, everybody. I'm Flying Solo. David Solomon here with you. Stuart is off with Memorial Day in the United States. Welcome back to the Rant Network, where we dive into raw, unfiltered issues, spanning news, pop culture, politics, and so much more. This unedited broadcast, folks, we record and we broadcast, so we don't mess around with it. We're really dissecting today's absurdities. We get into the deep-seated issues that society is really scratching its head on. We try to keep it real here at the Rant Network. So, sit back today as once again we dive into the absurdity of politics, and today the focus is on Justin Trudeau. You know, when he was elected some 9 years ago, he beat Prime Minister Stephen Harper, a conservative. And we know that in Canada, the media here is highly and strongly liberal. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation absolutely loathes the Conservatives because the Conservatives want accountability. The Conservatives want responsibility. The CBC only wants to spend money that it doesn't have. It belongs to the taxpayers, and they believe it's their God-given right. Well, that seems to be Justin Trudeau's philosophy as well, is that being prime minister is his God-given right, and that God, ordained him king. Although it says prime minister, he is king, and he decides what's right and wrong for you and me. But Justin Trudeau, when he was elected back some 9 years ago, presented himself as this tall, handsome person, spoke eloquently. Former drama teacher, carried himself well. Women fawned on him because he was so good looking. Men fawned on him because he was so good looking. And Stephen Harper, although highly, highly intelligent, got caught up more on what the media tried to make of him and the media tried to turn him into. And with 3 weeks left in the election, simply lost. Harper was one of those guys who told you straight up what you needed to hear, not what Justin does, what he thinks you want to hear. Harper focused on what you needed to hear. And I'll talk about that in a minute in comparing the two leaders. But Harper was the one who, during a very serious banking crisis, during the 2008 financial crisis, helped Canada stave off a massive recession that we saw in the US as well as in Europe. But Canadians forgot it very quickly because the media needed to focus on the minutiae. Trudeau, since he's been elected, has been caught in one scandal after another. But nobody's calling him to pass. No one's calling for his resignation. No one's calling for him to step aside. His blackface, photo of which he painted his face black in a costume. In a time where people were freaking out over these type of things, it's okay. It's Justin. When he was on Aga Khan's boat, again, it's okay. No problem. He was just so out of touch. He went to India, when we'll get to that in a second. But when he last visited India, he thought if he got dressed up like one of the folks in India, he's just going to fit in. That when in Rome. Needless to say, he offended the folks in India, and that didn't go over very well. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, he was in London, goes to the bar, and starts playing Queen on the piano, thinking, what a great idea. Queen, right? It fits. That's the prime minister. That's his image. But again, Teflon JT, because the media does not want conservatives in power. Now, listen, the Conservatives have put some really bad candidates in front of them in 2 previous elections. So Justin, in reality, should have won bigger mandates. But what message the Canadians were sending was, Justin, you're out of touch with Canadians. Yes, he was prime minister during COVID, and yes, that was a difficult time. No playbook. But what he did as prime minister during COVID just showed how he just doesn't care. He overpaid for COVID medicine. He promised whatever was left as an excess would go to third world nations that needed it. Instead, it sat in cabinets untouched, expired, and was useless. How about the fact that during COVID, he sent out checks to people saying, stay home? And people got used to that. And they love that. They love that. He taught an entire generation of people, you could stay home, we'll pay you. The CERB, which he gave out to help businesses, yeah, sure, he helped people and whatever. Then he hurt them. And in 2024, these businesses are now hurting. But Justin Trudeau doesn't seem to care. Justin Trudeau doesn't care about what you feel as long as you vote for him. And that's why he sends checks. And I've met numerous people who believe that Justin Trudeau is the right prime minister because he sends checks. And I keep telling people, where are the checks coming from? Let's take a look at what Justin has put in place in the last 12 months, shall we? A carbon tax. That's right, a carbon tax. He has increased our gas tax, right? Why? Because we shouldn't be using gas. We should all be using electric vehicles. So instead of focusing on helping us get electric vehicles, he's increased the price of gas at the pump, which has a massive domino effect. We've had serious inflation on food. We've had serious inflation on our everyday staples. He blames the grocery stores. He wants to put forward this policy to the grocery stores on the margins they're permitted to make. But the government has no responsibility. We'll just raise taxes because we don't want trucks. There are no electric vehicle trucks right now on the road. We don't have them yet. But gas goes up in price. And if you've I rented a U-Haul recently, and what I paid to fill up a U-Haul was crazy. Now imagine a truck that carries your food. Justin's right. Justin knows what's best for Canadians. The capital gains tax. In the last budget, Chrystia Freeland excitedly says, listen, we're going to continue to tax the rich. Because that's the mantra, the lovely mantra all the time. We need to tax the rich, 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 the rich. That's all you want to hear, right? So what they did was they took the capital gains tax. And until now, you had the first 50, the 50% of it was taxable. Now it's going to be 66.5% for individuals who only apply to a gain over $250,000. Again, we're going to tax the rich. But in typical Trudeau-esque fashion, in the Liberals, the legislation is so convoluted. It's supposed to go into effect June 1st. We are May 27th, and the details are still unclear. Businesses were for sale, and now they're getting screwed because the legislation isn't properly tabled right now. But something's going to go into effect on June 1st, and people have no idea, should I sell or not? People have worked their tails off to build a business, to grow a business, to be able to sell it from zero. And what does the government do? Hurt entrepreneurs. They hurt entrepreneurs. This was their retirement. Yeah, the rich, some of them, yes, I know, an extra country house, or an extra this, an extra that. I get it. But entrepreneurs who busted their butts, who paid a fortune, built something so they can have a retirement, are now getting screwed by the government with another tax. Bravo, Justin. Bravo, Chrystia. You clearly understand what Canadians need. Out of touch. Justin Trudeau's also so out of touch that he has to sit there and try to tell the world leaders how to act. He did it in India with Modi. He broke our relationship with India because he claimed that a Sikh leader was killed on Canadian soil in British Columbia, and he cut ties with India. He publicly humiliated the Prime Minister of India because he's so smart. He went after Putin on Ukraine because he's such a powerful country. And his latest bitch, Benjamin Netanyahu, because Bibi Netanyahu needs to listen to Justin Trudeau because Justin Trudeau has extensive experience in dealing with urban warfare, terrorism. I just don't get it. Justin, you should take a page out of Prime Minister Harper's book. Prime Minister Harper stood for Israel back in the last war with Gaza in 2014. He was one of the only leaders in the world who stood up and said he stood with Israel because what Hamas was doing was wrong. It wasn't about popular votes. It was about right versus wrong. And instead, Justin's looking at the votes going, there are more Arabs and Muslims in Canada than there are Jews, so I might as well side with the Arabs. Want proof? Slamming Israel on defending itself. Trudeau took how long to support Israel? Wishy-washy. His puppet Melanie Joly has been slamming Netanyahu from day one. And to make matters even worse, now he's saying he's supporting the International Criminal Justice, on Israel not entering Rafah. He doesn't care about facts. He cares about votes. And instead of being a leader and standing up for what's right, he kowtows. He kowtows, folks. When the convoy was going on, he ran away because the RCMP said, your life might be in danger, which was complete crap. And he hid under a bed, waiting. Oh, no, someone's going to hurt me. Justin Trudeau wasn't a leader who stood up. He called them Nazis. He insulted them and vilified them. Furthest from the truth. And now, when his own citizens are under attack in Montreal, Toronto, British Columbia, these are the Jewish community of Canada, he does nothing. Want an example? Over the weekend, a school in Toronto was shot at. A Jewish school was shot at. Justin's nowhere to be found to talk about that. Instead, Justin's going after, guess who? Bibi Netanyahu, because Bibi is trying to defend his country. To show you how out of touch he is, according to the latest statistics, only 1 in 5 support these encampments. Canadians. 1 in 5 Canadians support these encampments. Justin could easily get rid of them all. But those are his base. Those are what he believes are the people who vote for him. And taking a page out of Joe Biden, let's not do anything. Because you're afraid to lose votes. Justin Trudeau's Michigan and Minnesota is Ontario and Quebec. And therefore, though they lie, I gotta give in. Justin's version of denouncing anti-Semitism in Canada has been, on one hand, running to the Holocaust Museum and giving a powerful speech, and then on the other hand, slapping the crap out of Israel and denouncing them and giving fodder to Arabs and Muslims. How bravo. The words he thinks are powerful. Every year he gives a salute and a video of, to Israel, for example, regarding, it's Israel independence. And this year it was a published statement. Because the Jewish community doesn't deserve a video. Everybody else does, but not the Jewish community. He refused to stand on Parliament Hill in Ottawa back in the fall to release the hostages. He's refused to stand for humanity and rights. He only stands for what Justin believes is him. Because King Justin believes he is the only one that matters. Justin cozied up to the NDP to create this coalition to ensure that he would not lose his mandate, which means we don't have an election until October 2025. It's stupid, but that's how Justin played the rules perfectly for himself, his party. He's given in to the NDP on numerous occasions. A hateful, racist party. A party that is so out of touch with Canadians. A party that doesn't understand reality. Spend what we don't have. Put money towards initiatives that don't make sense and have no, basis to it. But Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, a couple made in heaven. That's right. Because both are protecting their own asses. They're not interested in you. They're not interested in me. They're interested in votes. And they know that if they called an election tomorrow, they'd lose. Because the only thing that these politicians have in common, attack the Conservatives. Pierre Poilievre is running well ahead in the polls, and the attitude by Justin is, the only thing I could do is to oppose Pierre. So if he supports the Jews, I got to support the Arabs. If he's going to support, cuts, I got to increase spending. If Pierre does this, I got to do that. It's all about trying to deflect. It's all about dividing Canadians. It's all about himself. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, like I said, we have about 15, 16 months before the next Canadian election. It is terrible. But I got to tell you, you guys need to harass the living daylights out of these Liberal MPs. Harass them. They've made our lives way worse. Harass NDP MPs as well, because they've made your lives miserable. Cost of living through the roof. Mortgages impossible to get. Housing prices through the roof. And Justin sits there and goes, don't blame me. But he's going to teach you because he knows better. He's going to tell you because he's the king. And the only way to send a message, unfortunately, is going to be next year. But in the meantime, send the messages, write the letters, sign the petitions. It's time to end this reign of tyranny. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back again on Wednesday and Friday. Again, next Mondays, we do this 3 times a week. We broadcast at noon Eastern. We're all over social. We're all over the different podcast downloads. Share your perspectives. We really want your feedback, and we love it. Okay? We love to hear what you want us to talk about because you can see it's unfiltered, and we go after everything.